Wrestling Reverb. And now your host, Josh Robinson.
Hello everyone and welcome to another edition of Wrestling Reverb. I am your host, Josh Robinson, as always. What a big week of WWE television this week. Two really, really good shows. A lot to cover. I've even wrote down notes of stuff because it was a lot to get in my head because a lot happened. I talked about last week in the post SummerSlam editions of Raw and SmackDown how WWE need to keep the ball rolling on the momentum they had coming out of SummerSlam, and to be honest, they did a pretty good job, especially SmackDown. But we'll start with Raw. I'm going to try something different for these Raw and recap shows. I'm not really going to kind of recap everything that happened and, go point by point. I'm just going to kind of go down, pick out little things I like. No real order to it. Just kind of let everything flow. We'll see how it goes. If you prefer the way I kind of did them before, then let me know on Twitter and on Facebook, Instagram, whatever it may be. And I can go back to the old way, but I'm just going to try something different just to see how it goes. So don't panic. If I don't even feel like this kind of format works, then next week we'll go back to how I originally did it. But I'm going to keep my creative flow and juices going to kind of try some new things. First and foremost, I have to talk about on Raw, Trish Stratus with a surprise little appearance live in her hometown of Toronto. In general, I love Canada. I want to move to Canada. I want to live in Canada. I think Canada is an amazing place. I just want to go there and experience it. But Canadian crowds in wrestling are fantastic. Toronto was lively for both Raw and SmackDown. They got announced that they're getting SummerSlam next year, which is really exciting. I think more pay-per-views need to take place outside of the US. And, I know Canada is relatively close to America. I'm not stating the obvious, but yeah, it is. But at least it's something. We need to get more pay-per-views in Canada, in the UK, in Australia. Not biased at all. But yeah, I love Toronto. So Trish Stratus, interrupting Elias, great little segment. Trish looked great. She's, gearing up for Evolution when she's taking Alexa Bliss. It was a fun little segment. She ended up, Elias with some great one-liners, saying he doesn't date women in their 60s. Trish with the slap. Standard wrestling stuff, but it was fun. I've said before, sometimes doing the same thing as you've done in the past. Not the same, but lack of a better term. Just like a similar thing that you've done in the past is sometimes okay. Sometimes it's okay to go with what's obvious instead of just trying to be different just to be different. This is one of those segments. It was fun. Big reaction from her hometown crowd. It's always great to see Trish. Alexa Bliss versus Trish at Evolution. I've talked about this kind of briefly on here before, but a lot of people are so sour on it. They think Trish could be wrestling so many other people that would just kind of be better and stuff like that. To a certain degree, I see what they're saying. I even agreed with it at the very beginning. But I said it before, I'll say it again. Trish Stratus versus Alexa Bliss makes the most sense. They're similar kind of, style in the ring to a certain degree. They... both small blonde girls coming in from a similar background. It just makes the most sense. And to be honest, Trish Stratus has even said in past interviews, even dating back to like a year or so ago, Alexa Bliss is the person she wants to work with the most. So maybe it was more Trish's decision maybe not Trish's decision, but maybe WWE have gone to Trish and said, hey, do you want to work Evolution? If yes, who do you want to work? And maybe she's just kind of gone with Alexa Bliss. And, would I like to personally see Trish Stratus versus someone else, like a Sasha Banks or even a Charlotte Flair? Yes, I would. But this makes the most sense. I think it'll be fine. The crowd will be into it. Trish Stratus is in it. We're getting Trish wrestling again. So, really, I don't think there should be too many complaints. But that's the way wrestling works. No one is ever going to be 100% on the same page. So, it is what it is. I'm excited for it. Sticking on the subject of, with Trish Stratus, we had Natalya versus Alicia Fox. Great to see Natty back in the ring after everything that's happened. She kind of won with a sharpshooter, dedicated the win to her dad. But just take a few steps back. Why is it that every week that Alicia Fox is on our screen, something else is on the top of her head? A few weeks ago, she had like a reef or a kale or something on the top of her head. This week, she had some kind of sparkly sailor hat or train driver hat thing. It was fucking weird. Yeah, just a weird tidbit that I just thought I'd pick out there. I don't even know why. But yeah, it's just so weird. Sticking on the ladies from Raw, next week, again, a lot of people are sour on this as well. The Bella Twins are back in action for the first time on Raw in over, I think, 3 or 4 years. I think I've actually stated this before, and I got a little bit of crap for it, but I'm a Bella fan. I think they bring something to wrestling in general that people don't. They are mainstream stars, as much as people don't like it. Do I think they're the greatest wrestlers in the world? No, I don't. But they bring some kind of other fan base and appeal to wrestling that, especially in the women's division, not a lot can say, with the exception of Ronda Rousey. Do they bring as much hype and buzz as Ronda? I don't think so. But them two as an entity together really do. So I'm a Bella fan. I think they're vastly better than when they originally came into the WWE. They put their time in. They put their work in. So let's just go with it. Like, stop. Everyone needs to stop just getting on things just because they don't like it. It's not like no one is going to boycott the product because the Bella Twins are coming back. But nonetheless, they're on Raw again. Brie is kind of like the John Cena of Raw and SmackDown, appearing on both brands. Fuck your brand split, I think is a little bit. But yeah, I'm fine with it. They're fighting the Riot Squad next week. It'll be a nice, fun little match. As we gear towards Evolution, they're going to be a part of it. Obviously, Brie's going to be a part of Hell in a Cell. So, yeah, I'm not fussed with it. Don't at me. But yeah, it's just how I am. I like it. A big thing from Raw this week was the Intercontinental Championship Open Challenge was back. Seth Rollins opening it up to anyone. Kevin Owens, for the first time since SummerSlam, coming out and accepting the challenge. As you would expect, it was a great match. Owens nearly had it, but it was the stomp to end it. I personally really like Owens. I really like Rollins. I think what is to talk about, of course, aside from the fact that it was a great match, is the fact that Owens got a chair in the ring, sat down, and just simply said the words, "I quit." Now, I know, like he said in interviews and stuff like that he's just recently signed a deal with WWE, so we know it's not a shoot, but I think they could do it. They moved him to the alumni section and stuff like that, just to kind of sell the storyline and stuff like that. This will be fun. Stuff like this is always fun. Now, I didn't really know where it was going when it first kind of happened. I'm like, what is kind of going on here? But I've seen some things online, and it kind of does make sense that maybe Kevin Owens is going to become a silent kind of person, come back under the influence of Paul Heyman. I think it gets Paul Heyman back on our screens, which we all love, which we've all expressed that we want. So yeah, maybe we'll get Heyman back, and that'll be fun to kind of see Heyman and get Heyman back in the mix of things, and with someone like Owens. I think it'll be more like a CM Punk kind of deal. Not so much, not so much as Owens needs Heyman, as to just kind of add to Owens in general. So that could be really fun. Whether that happens or not, who knows? Staying on the topic of the Intercontinental Championship, obviously Dolph Ziggler is going to get a rematch this week on Raw. They took on Roman Reigns and Braun Strowman. I'll talk about that in a moment. But I think Dolph and Drew, are really great together. The problem is that once they get past Seth, I'm assuming Seth Rollins is going to retain the Intercontinental Championship. That could, that's just my kind of opinion. Where do Drew and Dolph go from here? There isn't a lot of depth on Raw, especially in the main event picture. You've got your main kind of, group, which they're included in. It's just anything below that is such a step down, and I don't think Dolph and Drew are quite. They're very close, but they're not quite at that point where they can bring everyone else up. I just don't think they are. That's just my personal opinion. Yeah, I don't know where they go from here. Do they go into the tag division? I don't think so. I just think anything down from Seth is so below that kind of, I don't know. But yeah, it's just weird to think where they're going to go. Dean Ambrose took on Jinder Mahal this week. There was a little backstage segment. And I love the fact that I think what I didn't like about Ambrose before he got hurt was that they took the lunatic kind of part of Ambrose in the comedy direction, which I didn't love. And I think that's what I didn't like about Ambrose, is that he was a little too silly, a little too funny for my liking. But now they've taken the lunatic avenue to like the psychotic kind of, I'm going to beat the shit out of you kind of thing, which is awesome. I love Ambrose like that. That's what I wanted from Ambrose. He's got himself in great shape. His wrestling has gotten better, I think. I don't think anyone has ever kind of said that Dean Ambrose is the most incredible wrestler. He was almost on the sloppy side of things with some of the stuff he did. But since he's coming back, it seems like he's really sharpened up everything. He's, tightened the screws on everything. And his dirty deeds, which I didn't love about Ambrose, has got such a snap and like a coolness and an edginess to it now. I don't even know why, but he hits it out of nowhere. It's cool. I'm all for Ambrose. I hope they do some more stuff with him, with the Shield back together again. And I think the Shield are going to be a focal point of Raw, those three guys. Even if they're not together as a unit, I think they're always going to be, it's kind of, the show will be centered around those three in some way, shape, or form. Cool stuff. See where it goes. Of course, this week on Raw, Baron Corbin was the acting general manager, as last week Stephanie said that maybe it's time for Kurt Angle to have a little bit of a vacation. We don't know how long that's going to be for. Corbin shits me to a fucking the core of my being. He just shits me off. His face and everything. But it's not like go away. It's more just like, I think he's just a good heel in some sense, but he does annoy me. He does irritate me. I'm only going to be able to put up with Corbin as GM for so long. We got some good stuff out of Raw tonight. It's just, it's Corbin. It's whatever. Speaking of Corbin, we got Finn Balor versus Baron Corbin again. We get this, seems to be every week on Raw, and it's always the start of Raw, and it always goes for 2 to 3 segments, and it really annoys me that every week Raw has to start with the same stuff all the time. I think Corbin is fairly decent in the ring. I think Finn's fairly decent in the ring, but they don't need to fight 500 times, and technically there was 2 matches out of this because the match restarted. But whatever. It was what it was. They don't have bad matches, and I'm not trying to say they have bad matches. I try to stay completely positive as much as I can on wrestling because I love it so much, and I don't like to be those people on the internet that just whinge. But I can see why they do, is because WWE give us so much of the same stuff all the time. But whatever, it will not stick too long on that. Hopefully they move on to other things. And another thing on Raw that everyone knows really grinds my gears is the B team. They were undefeated going into their match against the Revival this week. The Revival finally beat them. They're getting a Raw Tag Team Championship match next week. It's not that I think Bo Dallas and Curtis Axel are horrible. It's just that the B team are meant to be, in my eyes, if we want to gain sympathy for the B team, they should be underdogs, but they won the championships right away. They've been undefeated up until this point on Raw. How are we meant to get behind them? They've already reached the peak and the pinnacle of the Raw Tag Team division, which, on the other hand, I just hate it so much. There is no depth. There is no nothing to it. It's just their champions are a joke. The Revival, I don't even love, but I hope they beat the B team so we can go into other things, maybe with the Authors of Pain getting involved. And I honestly don't even know any other tag teams that are on Raw, with the exception of Titus Worldwide. But, oh man, the tag team division. Everyone knows my opinion on tag team wrestling. But, oh man. It just, tag team wrestling is not my thing. But, speaking of, we brought up Titus Worldwide, Dana Brooke had an opportunity to get in the ring tonight, and Titus got her a warm-up match. She wanted to know who. Titus said, your warm-up match is against the boss, Sasha Banks. Dana looked a little bit worried, as you would. It is Sasha. It's no warm-up. Stuff like that. Sasha's a tough opponent. The match was short. I'm not saying the match was spectacular, but something I hadn't seen, because Dana doesn't get a lot of opportunities to get in the ring, with the exception of, the Women's Royal Rumble. I think she was in the Gauntlet match a few months ago. I think she competed in the WrestleMania Women's Battle Royal. So, her opportunities to get in the ring are few and far between. But she really impressed me in the ring this week. I've never thought Dana Brooke was an incredible wrestler, but what she did was she stuck to what she knew. She's perfected it, and she kind of showed up against Sasha Banks. Of course, Sasha went over with the Banks statement. But yeah, an impressive performance from Dana. I hope we get to see some more of Dana Brooke, to be honest, because I've never hated Dana Brooke. I always thought she was a pretty good character. She's the statistician or whatever they call her in Titus Worldwide. It's been nice, but maybe it's time to go into other things for Dana. We always need more depth to a division, and Dana adds. She's different. She's got a different look about her. She's got a different feel in the ring. And it's always nice to see Sasha get to wrestle someone else other than the Riot Squad, so that's kind of fun. Speaking of Sasha and Bayley, for that matter, the Boss and Hug connection, it's fairly obvious that WWE are gearing up for Revolution, and WWE, I think, are gearing up for women's tag titles. I think that's going to happen, and that's why we're kind of seemingly stalling with Bayley and Sasha Banks as a unit. They're just kind of on Raw to be on Raw. It's nice to see them, like I said, go up against someone that isn't the Riot Squad. But I think at Evolution, they're going to be in a tag team championship match. I said my bit on the women's tag titles. I don't think it's the greatest idea in the world, and I love women's wrestling. I absolutely adore it. It's my passion, my love. I love it so much, but I don't think women's tag titles are the right thing. I just think it's going to be cool at the start, and then it's going to get real stale real fast. But it's inevitable. I know it's going to happen. Is Banks and Bayley the right thing to start off with? I probably would say yes. I don't think there's really anyone else that should win the tag titles first. But yeah, we all want inevitably Bayley versus Banks, but I think there's just it's that short-term booking, and in the long term, is that really going to be marketable after they fight each other? Where do they go from there? I think WWE's mind, it's best to keep them sticking together until further notice. I'll put that in there. We move along. Bobby Lashley is someone I'm not very fond of. I've never liked Bobby Lashley, even in his previous run. I just never liked him. But That being said, he come in with a little bit of buzz. Everyone was kind of excited to see him. He went through the awful feud with Sami Zayn. He went on to Roman Reigns. He even beat Roman Reigns at Extreme Rules. And since then, he's kind of done nothing. He's kind of stalled. He wasn't even on SummerSlam. He's kind of just in little matches here and there. He was in a brief little program with Elias, but I think that was just to get them on TV. So I'm not really sure what is happening with Bobby Lashley. There's no one to really fit him in against. The only thing I could see Bobby doing is maybe fighting Dolph and Drew. That is the only other thing I can think of. But then I don't even know, really, is that something that they're going to go with? Is that something we want? I don't know. But Lashley's future to me is in kind of question. He's in kind of limbo. He needs something to do. We'll see what happens in the coming weeks with him. But moving on to our main event, it was Braun Strowman, Roman Reigns, who will take... Braun actually cashed in his Money in the Bank for Hell in a Cell. It will be Braun Strowman against the Universal Champion Roman Reigns inside Hell in a Cell. Just briefly on that match, we've seen these two go at it before, and they've had great matches. I think it'll be fun inside the cell. It keeps out whatever the Shield and stuff like that. We go into this match. It's just a normal tag match, and then all of a sudden it looks like Braun has kind of turned his back on everyone and let Drew and Dolph just beat the tar out of Roman Reigns. He joins in. The Shield comes out. They all beat up the Shield. They stand arm in arm at the end of Raw. Is this a Braun Strowman heel turn, or is this an alliance to kind of combat the numbers game? I'm leaning towards more Braun turned, and I think it's questionable considering how much of a hot act Braun is. But WWE have a plan, obviously. It evens the odds. They got announced for Super Showdown to go 3-on-3, those two units. So it looks like it's sticking. I don't know. It's a different kind of decision. It's not where I thought they would go. Is it the right time? I guess only time will tell. Does Braun beat Roman at Hell in a Cell? I don't think so. If we've just had all this build to Roman getting the Universal Championship, I don't think Braun wins it, but who knows? It could happen. Braun, of course, he's now cashed in. He's given his contract to Baron Corbin. He's cashed in for Hell in a Cell. So will it be a cash-in lose? Who knows? On the cash-in, though, a lot of people are like, why wouldn't Braun just cash in like normal? I think we've seen so many Money in the Bank cash-ins, and as cool as they are, it is always nice to have something, fresh in the mix. And we haven't seen someone announce their cash-in since John Cena, and he lost. It was a DQ win, but he lost his opportunity. He didn't beat CM Punk. So, I mean, we'll see what happens. The only other time before that is Rob Van Dam when he announced to cash in on John Cena at One Night Stand in 2006. He walked away with the WWE Championship in that occasion. So we'll see what happens. Raw was this week, I thought, fairly good. There was some things on there that just kind of were a bit repetitive and a bit the same, but enough happened to keep me interested and stuff like that. It was good. I really, for the most part, enjoyed it. Now let's move on to my favorite wrestling program of the week. It is SmackDown Live. Every week, I think in the back of my head, this is going to be the SmackDown that's going to kind of just, lose its momentum and blah, 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 because every week just seems to get better and better and better. I was wrong. This SmackDown was awesome, as it always is. There's a sense of urgency, a sense of just something. There's some passion on SmackDown Live that everyone wants to make it better. To kick things off, the New Day, of course, the five-time tag team champions. They had a celebration. Big E went to do that. In comes not Booker T, but the great King Booker. He was here to kind of, give his blessing to the New Day joining the 5-time club. Fun little segment. King Booker's fun. We've seen some spinneroonies. Big E couldn't do it. It was just a cool segment. And then the New Day stayed out for commentary, which is really fun. For the triple threat qualifier, the winner of this triple threat will fight the winner of next week's triple threat tag match. The winner of that match will fight the New Day at Hell in a Cell. The bar went over. Nice little match. Then next week it's going to be Rusev Day, in English, and Rusev versus Sanity versus the Usos. The winner of that match will fight the bar. And then we go on to Hell in a Cell against the New Day. It seems to me it's probably going to be the bar that will do this, and the bar will fight New Day, which is fine. They had an incredible match a few weeks ago on SmackDown, so that will be fun to see that go on. Speaking of something that we hope we'll see something out of is biasly, because they're Aussies, my iconic girls, 2 weeks in a row. Not something that I'm used to saying, is they got singles victories over anyone. It was Naomi both weeks, but both were cheating, but they're heels, that's fine. Is it leading somewhere with the Iconics, or is it just TV time? I don't know. The Iconics are not in any means, I don't think they're the greatest thing ever. As I said, I'm a little bit biased, but people seem to shit on them more than they deserve. They're good on the mic. They're meant to be annoying. They're meant to be bratty. That's their thing. They're fairly decent in the ring. I think more so Peyton than Billy. Billy's still good. I just think Peyton is just a better worker of the two, in my opinion. But I love the girls. They are iconic. I hope it leads to something other than just a couple of wins and then they fade off again. But hopefully we see something more, because SmackDown Women's Division has a lot of fresh talent. When you look at the Iconics, Mandy and Sonya, etc. And they're the build-up stage, so if they do get moved to Raw or they stay on SmackDown, they become champions. We want everyone to be the best. And it's just, I hope it leads to something. But speaking of that, to get over new stars, you have to beat previously big stars. Naomi, of course, was the SmackDown Women's Champion. I think she was actually she was twice the SmackDown Women's Champion because of an injury. She had to relinquish the title, but she was the SmackDown Women's Champion. Ever since she lost the championship, she's really been in and out of stories, and she hasn't really had that come up again. She's almost taken over Becky Lynch's role in the fact that she's on TV a fair bit, but she loses to newer stars, and she always nearly wins. That was Becky's kind of claim to fame. I think that's the spot that Naomi is in. I mean, Naomi is quite good in the ring. I've always kind of enjoyed Naomi. She's very athletic. It's just not her time, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And is it a shame? A little bit, because it is what it is. But I mean, I guess it's better being on TV than off of it. So I hope something happens for Naomi, but we'll see what happens. I kind of briefly talked about this before, but Brie Bella was back on SmackDown again this week, and she was with Braun, and Almas and Vega came out to interrupt them. We got a match between Almas and Daniel Bryan, and it was fucking awesome. A great match, as you would expect from these two anyway. Brie got into it with Vega. The Miz and Maurice came down. Brie got drilled by Maurice. DDT from Maurice. Yes, lock from Miz to Bryan. They get their uppers going into Hell in a Cell. And as soon as that was kind of happening, all I seen was just people hating on Brie Bella. And like I said before, I'm a Bella fan and stuff like that. And I think this stuff that she's doing with Braun is actually really fun. So I don't know why people are just bitching and moaning just for the sake of bitching and moaning, because it's not someone they love. I'm all for people having their opinions and et cetera, but my God, just let the story unfold and enjoy it for what it is. We have Daniel Bryan, we have The Miz, we have Maurice wrestling again, we have Brie Bella wrestling again. I just am enjoying it. I'm actually really excited for that match at Hell in a Cell. I love mixed tags in general, but this is a cool story. It's personal, it has its moments, it's everything you want in a wrestling storyline. So, enough with the Bella hate. Of course, Jeff Hardy, who's been a little broken as of late. Him and Randy Orton have been having an incredible program, and something that Jeff Hardy has always wanted to do before he retires, one of his things on his wrestling bucket list was to have a Hell in a Cell match. And finally, he's going to get to do that at Hell in a Cell with Randy Orton. This is a personal match. They've been feuding for months. I'm really excited. Randy has been absolutely fantastic. Jeff is always great. Still crazy, still does crazy things. I think him and Orton will have a fantastic Hell in a Cell. It will be fun. I'm glad to see it. I'm really into this kind of stuff. I talked about Naomi before, not really being on TV, and, she's just in the Becky Lynch role, and where do you go from here? But someone who really needs to kind of know where they're going is the United States champion Shinsuke Nakamura. It was another week without Nakamura, and he's the United States champion. He should be on it. You know what I mean? He should be on the show and should be representing the United States Championship and being a program, but I guess there's just no one for him right now, which is a shame. Shinsuke's great. As I said, going into SummerSlam, that was one of my more hyped matches. I think him and Jeff had a really good match at SummerSlam, and yeah, it's just a shame that Shinsuke is no longer there. But I hope he gets something soon out of it. But we'll see. Another thing that I have to talk about is Paige. I think I've said before that Paige's role as the GM is working very well for her. But I honestly think, with the exception of a couple like your Eric Bischoffs and stuff like that, I think she's one of the best general managers of all time. She thrives in that role. You clearly see she's happy in that role. She wants to be in that role. Hopefully she lasts a long time in this role. She makes the role less generic and more of her own. She's a great GM. Kayfabe-wise, it's still the rule to me, damn it. So kayfabe-wise, she's probably one of the best GMs ever, because she's done so much for the brand, and ever since she's kind of taken over, SmackDown has been on fire with matches and stuff like that. So Paige is doing a fantastic job. I honestly think she's one of the best of all time. I love Paige, and I'm glad to see that she's doing something else now that her wrestling career is over, which is staying in the business that she knows and loves. Charlotte Flair had a promo on SmackDown with Renee Young, and when Charlotte is switched on and in a really intense story, Charlotte is really damn good. Sometimes I kind of brush Charlotte to the side because she isn't necessarily my favorite, but Charlotte Flair is really good, and the promo and the fire that she had in that promo was really something great. Charlotte is just really good. Her stuff with Becky, I think, to me, there's nothing I'm more excited for than Charlotte versus Becky. I absolutely love Becky Lynch, as 99.9 of everybody does. Becky is probably the most over... I'm not even going to say woman. She's one of the most over people in WWE at the moment. Everything she does is just turning to gold at the moment. The fans are not accepting this heel turn. However, she's doing some great heel work. I just think the reason is because we want her to win so goddamn much. She got another outstanding ovation this week from the audience in Toronto, and not only that, she's just she can't do anything wrong at the moment, knock on wood. But Charlotte and Carmella had a SmackDown Women's Championship match. Carmella taking a rematch. It was a fun little match. Carmella hung in there. I've said my criticism of Carmella before, but she hung in there. They had a pretty decent main event. Charlotte went over, of course, and then Becky come in to attack. Held up that SmackDown Women's Championship to a large, positive reaction. Crowd chanting, "Let's go Becky," and Becky, 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 and I was doing the same. There's no one I'm more excited for than Becky Lynch right now. She is my favorite in the business at the moment. I want her to win so goddamn much. She's just on fire, no pun intended. I don't think there's any puns in that from Becky Lynch at the moment anyway, but she is... I want her to win that SmackDown Women's Championship. The thing is with this feud is that there's only one way to go from here, and the crowd are going to pick their side, and Charlotte's going to get booed out of this. And Charlotte's done literally nothing wrong. It's just a matter of, this is not what we want right now, Charlotte. We want Becky. Hell in a Cell will be fun with them too. I would really love it if it was inside Hell in a Cell. I just don't think it's going to happen. But they're going to be in a match at Evolution. They're going to have some kind of blow-off match at Evolution. Whether they wait for Becky to win it at Evolution or not, I don't know. But I'm so excited for this rivalry. It's fun. It's fresh. It's going to be great. They're two great competitors. It's just a great time to be a fan of Becky Lynch and Charlotte for that matter, because they're both really good. But I'm Team Becky all the way. A lot of you will agree with me with that, I know, because everywhere I turn, it's Becky Lynch. All over the internet, all over the Twitter, everything. One more thing that I have to talk about to cap off this incredible SmackDown. AJ Styles and Samoa Joe. I was fairly critical of their stuff pre-SummerSlam with all the personal. It was cheesy. It was whatever. We got to SummerSlam and it turned me 360. I'm all for it. Complete 180 to 360. Whatever you say, whatever the saying is, I'm all for them too. I'm so excited for this goes. Samoa Joe is an absolute savage. With those the way he says Wendy, and oh man, it's creepy. And AJ and him are going to tear each other apart. They got announced for the Super Showdown as well, so this looks like it's going to continue after Hell in a Cell. Whether they put them inside a cell or not, I don't know. It looks like they're set with Jeff and Randy and Roman and Braun, but we'll see what happens. Good stuff from them. Again, I'm excited for everything. SmackDown is the show to watch. It's just a fun time, really. It's just great television, and yeah, that kind of wraps it up this week. Mae Young Classic bracketology is on tomorrow, so we'll probably get some coverage on that very, very, very soon. I'm probably going to do some recaps on every episode of the Mae Young Classic, and it will be completely spoiler-free, because as everyone knows, I didn't read anything about this. I don't know anything that happens in the Mae Young Classic, because I want to watch it as it airs, and I'm very excited for it. So expect some Mae Young Classic stuff, so join me for that, please. Get at me on Twitter and Facebook and my Instagram. This show is growing and growing and growing every day. Update on my Twitch channel. I've in the process of starting it up in the next kind of 48 hours kind of deal. It's going to be there. It's going to be predominantly wrestling games, but I'm going to play some other stuff. I like other games as well. I'm not just completely into wrestling, so we'll play all different kinds of games. Whatever I kind of feel, please, it'll be on my Twitch. I'm probably going to upload it to my YouTube. It's under the name wRestlingReverbGames, just to kind of keep it, all fairly neutral. I can keep, Facebook and Instagram and Twitter all kind of in sync and together then. And just, that's my kind of brand that I'm going to follow. So please, if you're into video games, join me on my Twitch. When it officially kind of kicks off, and probably start off with just some WWE games for now, and then we'll branch into some other things. This is my way to get the other creative side of me out, because I can be a little bit more serious on here, and then my game stuff, I can be a complete dick and just be a complete idiot, which is very true to who I am. So, yeah, if you enjoy me on here, please join me on my Twitch. I don't really have a kind of schedule set in place. Like I said, it's in the very early stages, but I hope to start it soon. So join me on there. That's going to be capping it off this week. Great Week in Wrestling. I'll catch you guys next time. Bye.